Hi, it's Jonathan with the Quantum Physics Healing Humanity channel, and I think we all know our Congress does a lot of bad things, and it's easy to get cynical about our governing politicians, and Congress's approval rating is about 15% right now. So for years, it's been easy to think that Congress, our governing officials just don't have much impact on our lives at all, but that's clearly changing with rampant inflation and many other things going on. And with 94 days before our election, it seems like midterm elections, it seems like we really need to dig in with this. Journalists are saying we could have ICE officers at the polls with guns, the seizing of ballots possibly, and our president's trying to pass the Save America Act, which would mean the federal government would get all of our voting information. They would get to decide who votes and who doesn't get to vote. And if our president loses both chambers of Congress, he could be impeached, which means the possibility of jail for him. So he's trying to meddle in these elections with all he's got. But if there's a small group of people like us who are committed to believing that the infinite love that created humanity actually is truly governing our nation, does that help? Does that contribute? I can't offer any scientific proof. My gut tells me yes, it does. And I love how the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, he lived 500 years before Christ, and he said, great quote, I love this quote, "I see good people as good, and I can see bad people as good if I am good enough." In other words, it takes some deep goodness inside ourselves to really see bad people as good. So my theory is, if you and I can take what we see of government corruption and still decide to affirm and believe these members of Congress have moral courage and integrity, then we might discover what Lincoln says about the better angels of our nature coming forward. And that's just a beautiful statement he made in 1861 in his inaugural address. And the Civil War didn't end until 4 years later. So sometimes it takes, some practice of this over a long period of time. Many years ago, I got to visit the beautiful Greek island of Patmos, where the Apostle John was exiled. And he was exiled in a little indentation in a cliff above the beautiful blue Aegean Sea. If you're going to be exiled, you might as well be exiled somewhere beautiful like an island like Patmos. And this is where he received the revelation that we hear in Handel's Hallelujah chorus about how, "For the Lord omnipotent reigneth, and he is the King of kings, the Lord of lords, and he shall reign forever and ever." And I don't know why, you hear that over, it's repeated many times in that chorus, and it really starts to sink in that, the Lord omnipotent reigneth. And it really, you get that conviction. And this has been sung for centuries in the Christian churches around the world during Christmas and Easter. It seems humanity needs the constant reminder and reassurance that we're governed by God when human governments fall into corruption so frequently. So maybe if you and I could radically commit to this beautiful vision to the point where the world has to conform to what we're vividly imagined in our hearts and minds, that might make a huge difference. I think everybody wants their lives to matter, and this could be the greatest contribution we could make to humanity. If quantum physics is true, and I think the scientists deeply believe it is, then what we think has a really, really powerful impact. So if you and I choose a dedicated practice of meditation with the goal of upholding the integrity and moral courage of our Congress, the courts, and the media, then what seems like an isolated meditating person is actually the most profound service one could engage in for humanity. It definitely would not be flashy or sexy, nobody would get any credit, but it seems like it could shape the direction of humanity for many years to come. So I hope you'll join me in this. I had the privilege of attending 3 different events put on by Dr. Joe Dispenza, week-long events. And he has you doing 4-hour meditations starting at 4 a.m. And the first time I did that, I thought, there's no way I can make it 4 hours. I won't make it. But I couldn't believe how it flew by and how enjoyable it was. So it can be way too easy to think we don't have time for meditation with all we have to do with our jobs, our family, paying bills, blah, blah, blah. But it actually reorders your life in a way that these things are taken care of beautifully. So that's all I've got. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video if you did, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Have a beautiful night.